You ever wonder why when you apply to get a credit card and get denied, they never tell you the real reason why? Because behind the scenes, all these applications aren't even looked at by real people. They're actually processed by algorithms. And those same algorithms will auto reject you the second they see certain words or answers that trip their system as a red flag. I've literally seen people with a 700 plus credit score, solid income, nothing negative on the report, get denied instantly. Not because of their credit, but because they made a simple mistake somewhere on their credit card application completely by accident. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 6 things you should never write on a credit card application. And once you know them, you'll be way ahead of 95% of the people that keep getting tripped up by the system and making these simple mistakes. All right, so mistake number 1 is gonna be your employment status. And this one sounds super harmless, but it's one of the fastest ways you can get denied without even realizing why. So here's the deal. If you put down self-employed or retired, the algorithm instantly throws up a red flag. The reason being is because if you're self-employed in the system, that means unpredictable income. It doesn't even matter if you're consistently making good money because the computer sees that and it assumes your income could swing up and down every single month. Then if you put retired on your application, that actually looks even worse because to the algorithm, that signals fixed income. And that makes you look like you might not be able to handle an additional bill even if you got plenty of money already saved up. So you're probably asking, what's the move we make here? And it's actually very simple because if you're self-employed, instead of writing that down, write that you're employed by your business, even if it's just you. So you'll just simply list your business name as your employer. That tip alone shows more stability and trust to the credit card companies you're applying to. And if you're retired, list your active income instead. Maybe you do some consulting, you have rental income, you do side work, anything that shows money still coming in pretty regularly. The goal here is very simple. Don't give the algorithm a reason to assume you're risky to lend to. Show steady active income and you'll clear that first hurdle on your credit card application super easy. Now, mistake number 2 is going to be all about income reporting. And this one catches people on both ends, those who lowball their income and those who exaggerate it to the extreme. Both of these are actually pretty common issues that cause credit card denials right out the gate. So here's what most people don't realize. Credit card companies want your gross income. So that's before taxes, before deductions, straight up just the full amount before anything comes out. But a lot of people put down their take-home pay, which makes them look like they earn way less than they really do. Doing this will lower your approval odds and could mean smaller credit limits even if you do end up getting approved. Now on the flip side, some people try to game the system by putting down unrealistic numbers, and that backfires super quick. If you claim something way outside the norm, the system flags it and you're likely to get hit with requests for tax returns, bank statements, or pay stubs. This essentially turns a simple credit card application into a whole annoying verification process or just outright denial. And trust me, I learned this the hard way when I applied for my American Express Platinum card and they didn't believe the number I put down on my application. So they literally had me connect my bank account on the spot to verify my income before they even approved me. So here's what you'll do to make sure you find that sweet spot for yourself. Report your income accurately, but definitely do not sell yourself short. Use your gross income and include any income you can reasonably expect to be coming your way in the future. Get this right and you'll look super strong on paper. Also remember, these credit card companies want to be able to approve you. This is essentially how they make money, by making you one of their customers, then eventually being able to offer you other products in the future. So they need you more than you need them at the end of the day. So always remember that. Also, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel since I'm dropping all this sauce and I can continue to make videos like this in the future. Now let's move on to mistake number 3, and that's gonna be ignoring your credit report. This one should be pretty obvious, but it's still one of the most common reasons why most people get denied when submitting credit card applications. Way too many people apply for credit cards without ever looking at their credit report, let alone what their credit scores are even at. You'll actually be pretty shocked that some people haven't even seen their credit in years, so definitely don't let that be you. All right, let's be real. At the end of the day, your credit report is basically your resume as an adult and the main thing that these credit card companies are looking at to see if they can trust you. So if you don't know what your credit's looking like, you're basically walking around completely blind. Here's what usually happens when someone fills out an application. Everything looks good on their end, they hit submit, and then boom, they get denied. Then when they check check the reason, it turns out there's a bunch of late payments that they have from a year ago. They have a medical bill that slipped up in the collections, or even worse, there's an error on the credit report that isn't even theirs. And yes, this does happen more often than you may think. So before you apply for anything, I beg you, please always look at all three of your credit bureaus, your Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Then literally go line by line, check all your personal information, all your account history, and look for any negative collections that might be hurting you. Even look for small mistakes like wrong addresses, misspelled names, because this could definitely create some confusion in the algorithm as well. Then if you catch something that's wrong, make sure to dispute it and get it fixed before you apply for anything. It's way easier to clean up the issue ahead of time versus applying for a credit card and getting denied because you didn't know what was going on with your credit. Bottom line, make sure you know how your credit looks beforehand, and I'll even put you on to the best credit monitoring software I recommend down below called Smart Credit. I legit been with Smart Credit for over 3 years now, and I definitely recommend them to everyone I know, so make sure to click that link below to see your most accurate credit report. So let's keep it moving and move on to mistake number 4, which is address stability. And this one throws off a lot of people because it has completely nothing to do with your credit score or your income. It's just about how stable you look on paper when it comes to where you live. So here's the deal, credit card applications are definitely going to be asking for your address no matter what. And sometimes they might even ask you how long you've been at that address for. So if you moved around a lot lately, that could definitely cause a problem. Because from the algorithm's perspective, someone who changes addresses a lot can look very risky. And it doesn't even matter if you move for a better apartment, a new job, or school. To the system, multiple address changes in a short period of time can look like you're just not in a stable living situation. So what do you do if you actually fall into this type of situation? First thing I'll say is if you're planning to apply, try to have some consistency with your address. If you just moved, it might be better to wait a few months before applying so you can build up some stability at your new spot and give you some time to get all your personal information updated. Secondly, make sure your address you list on your application matches what's showing on your credit report. Any mismatched information for your address can slow things down or even trigger a denial. Bottom line, credit card companies don't just look at your credit report, they look at how reliable you are overall. And your address history plays a bigger role than most people realize. Next up, mistake number 5, which is applying for too many credit cards all at once. Some people think if they fire off a bunch of different credit card applications, that at least one of them would eventually stick, but that strategy almost never works and will backfire in the end. And you'll definitely want to avoid that at all costs. Here's the reason why. Every time you apply, it adds a new hard inquiry on your credit report. So if the system sees multiple hard inquiries back to back, it doesn't think you're being smart, it thinks you're desperate for credit, and desperate equals high risk. Now, it's definitely normal to have a few hard inquiries, which won't affect you as much, but when you submit 4 to 5 credit card applications in the same week, the algorithm is definitely going to flag that, even if you have great credit, because at the end of the day, it just makes you look unstable and overextended. This is another lesson I learned the hard way when I first started out. I was applying for literally tons of different credit cards randomly to see what I can get approved for without having any real game plan or reasonable use for the card I was trying to get. So the smarter play is pacing yourself. Space out your applications, focus on the cards you really want first, and then plan the rest of the ones later. That way your report shows controlled, intentional activity instead of random rapid fire hard inquiries that don't make any sense at all. Now let's move on to mistake number 6, and that's going to be data entry errors. This one sounds super basic, but make sure to pay attention because this one destroys more credit card applications than people realize. One wrong number or one small mismatch in the system is going to straight up deny you instantly. The big one is definitely going to be your social security number. If you type a single digit wrong, the algorithm basically thinks you're a different person, which is definitely going to be an automatic denial. Same thing with your address. If you put 123 Main Street, but you actually live at 123 Main Drive, then the algorithm can flag that as a mismatch and deny you from that alone. Something similar happened to me when I put the wrong zip code for my address and I was denied right away because my personal information didn't even match up. However, what I will say is I was able to call a customer support line and get help from an agent to reapply over the phone, which actually worked, and I did end up getting approved. So this tip alone is simple but crucial. Before you apply for anything, make sure your credit reports and all your accounts are up to date with the same information. And when you're filling out applications, slow down, double check every single field, every number, every letter, and every single detail. Because there's nothing worse than being denied, and not for your credit, not for your income, but because you literally did a typo by accident. Also, even if you do have a typo on your application, make sure to copy what I did and call the customer support line to reapply over the phone with a real live agent. So bottom line, credit card approvals aren't just about your score. The algorithm decides, and it mainly cares about how you look on paper. So learn how to play the game, and approvals will stop feeling like random luck, and they'll end up feeling like they become expected. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. What's one of the biggest reasons why you got denied for a credit card application? And I'll be responding to your comments. Also, guys, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.